What if the parts of you you've silenced are the exact keys to your joy, your creativity, and your true voice? Welcome to A Woman's Voice Online Summit. I am your host, Rochelle McCreary, and today we are in for a magical transformational journey. I am so delighted to say that our guest today is none other than Cynthia James, who is an international transformational coach, a TEDx and global speaker, and the best-selling author, singer, composer, and founder of the beloved Women Awakening podcast. We're going to dive right into Cynthia's latest book, The Kingdom of Magic and Mystery as a Portal to Deep Personal Revelation. I am so excited. Welcome to A Woman's Voice Online Summit, Cynthia.
Oh, Rochelle, it's so good to be with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, it is delightful to be with you. So, Cynthia, we connected right before this interview, and I shared that we actually have been sort of circling each other for a long time, having been at Agape together way back in the day. We won't put any dates on it, but way back in the day. And so I'm just so delighted to sit down with you here now in this moment of turbulence and transformation where women really need to find their voices and rise. So the first question I have for you is the question I've asked every single guest. And that is, and I want to give a little context. So when people look at you and they look at this illustrious career that you've had, you are a powerhouse transformational speaker and singer, and you are well known in sort of the spiritual transformation teacher world. So people look at that and they see this incredible success. Can you share a time in your life where you either lost your voice or had not found it, and sort of describe what that was like for you at that time?
Well, holy moly, good question. Um, Here's the thing. I grew up with a lot of violence. My biological father was an alcoholic. My stepfather was a wife beater and a pedophile, and 5 generations of women who had been abused and traumatized. So the whole dynamic in our family was keep your head down, don't get into trouble, don't be too visible, all that. And so what I did was I created, everybody called me Cindy. But Cindy was the one who would put herself out. She was the one who would be visible in school and be a cheerleader and do all those things. But Cynthia was monitoring everything.
Ah,
So what that created was a chameleon
mm,
who are to line up the people I dated in my life. They all tell you they dated somebody different because she was going to be what they needed.
right.
But then, the real Cynthia would emerge and then that would blow everything up.
Um,
So for me, it's like finding my voice became a destiny, a journey. It was important for me because I realized that I was the common denominator of all these crazy things happening.
ah,
So I needed to heal me. I needed to transform me.
oh my goodness. And Cynthia, will you share a little? So I will say this. So I first met you, you were Cindy.
Yes.
So that was back in the day when you were Cindy. So will you share a bit of your journey, the transformation from Cindy to Cynthia? Like what were some of the things that passages you had to go through in that journey?
Well, Cindy was likable. Cindy's lovable. She's connects with people, but it was all about being approved of and validated.
Mhm.
And so Cynthia, you know, as she started to emerge, I started to realize Cynthia didn't care what other people thought. She didn't need to make herself anything for anybody because she was already enough. And you and I both were in a teaching where we talked about this.
Right.
But as a woman and a Black woman and a woman who had come from the background I came from, it was like, well, Cindy can survive a little better than Cynthia. But
Mm.
at one point, it felt like, oh no, I have to take on ownership for who I am and who I've come here to be. Because I can't be a teacher and I can't be an author and all these other things if I can't be what I'm teaching.
Was there a catalyst? Was there some moment that the light switch went on for you that was like, I've got to now be Cynthia? Was there one thing you can think of?
Yeah. I was married to a very famous man, and we were going through a very public divorce. And, you know, there were things being said about me that were not true, and there were things coming at me from all directions. And I remember going to my girlfriend's house, and thank goodness for girlfriends. I'm 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 really hiding out in one of her bedrooms because I just don't know how to deal with everything. And I fall asleep, and as I'm waking up, I'm literally talking to God and I'm saying, I don't know why this is happening to me. And this boy, literally like a voice started singing, Everything Must Change. Right.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, what? And it said, get up.
mm,
You have always reinvented yourself. Get up. This is not the time for you to lay down and roll over. I mean, it was so clear. And I was fragile, and I didn't know what was gonna happen with children. I mean, it was crazy, but it was and if everything must change and nothing stays the same, me too.
right. Oh my goodness. That gives me chills when you share that, and so many women I think are first of all, we're socialized to be pleasing, right? So we're socialized to be likable, to be pleasing to the eye, right? To not take up too much space, to defer to others, right? That is how many of us are socialized. And then add a famous celebrity marriage on top of that, or with a powerful man on top of that. And I would imagine the dynamic is really tough to really find your voice. And I know that there are people listening who are in that space, right? So thank
Yeah.
you for sharing part of your journey. Well, you talk about, so you are a creative person, you're an artist, you're a professional actress at one point in your
Mhm.
career, and a singer, beautiful singer. I remember you singing at Agape. And so will you share what role creativity has played in your liberation and you finding your voice?
It's everything.
Mm,
I've written 6 books, and my 5th book was called Does My Voice Matter? And it was memoir-esque. And I've been on this planet for 7 decades, and so every decade, I just looked at what was happening culturally, and I looked at what was happening that was affecting my choices and my way of being. And this was the thing. Creativity in every decade was a change maker, whether it was music, whether it was poetry, whether it was dance, or it didn't matter. Creativity, whether it was writers, it was like the artists were the ones who said, pay attention, something's out of sync here. Let me show you what to do. Let me show you how it can be.
yeah, that beautiful creative process just operating through you, right? And what I find about, so I was a professional actor, an equity actor, regional theater, and I still consider myself an artist, even though now, I do other things. But what I found is that being an artist, being an actor, allowed me to learn more about myself, right? It was a great companion to my spiritual path and my spiritual studies because I learned more about myself. I learned more about the human nature and how I could navigate through all the different landmines and different things in life. So there was something very nourishing about being an artist and very informative for me in my journey in that way. So
Yeah, it's expansive.
mhm,
It's expansive.
expansive.
It allows you to explore different aspects of yourself.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I know that you've written 6 books, and what I'd love to talk about is your latest book, which I think just came out in March 2025. And I love this title. It is The Kingdom of Magic and Mystery. Do I have that right?
Yes, you do.
Yes, The Kingdom of I thought there was a tagline there, but
Well,
the
there is, that's the name of the book.
okay, yeah,
Mm.
so I would love to hear about the Kingdom of Magic and Mystery, and I know it's divided into 7, sort of 7 paths or passages. Please share with us how you birthed this book.
Well, it's very interesting. I wasn't planning on writing another book. And I take people on pilgrimages, and I had just come back from taking a group to Egypt. And when you're in these sacred places and you're doing deep spiritual work, it opens up all kinds of places within you in the field. And so I got back and I was meditating. I've been meditating for 40 years. And in my meditation, a voice says, write this down. So I'm obedient. I've been meditating forever. So I pull out my journal and it said the kingdom. And then it had said, draw 7 little circles. And I'm like, what is this? And the kingdom, what is this? Disneyland? I mean, I was like really confused. And I said,
Mhm.
okay, well, tell me more. And it said, not now. And it wouldn't say anything else to me. So a few months later, I cannot get this thing out of my mind. But you know, when you journal, you got journals all over the place and you don't
Right.
know which one. So I'm looking for the journal that this is in. I find and I open this book and it opens to the page. And then this voice inside says, now write the book. The name of the book is The Kingdom of Magic and Mystery. And there are 7 castles. And so I'm like, okay, I will. Uh, all right. So I just start writing, and it just starts downloading through me that these castles are aspects that live within us that when you tap into them, when you activate them, that there's revelation, that there's inspiration, and that there's creativity that activates your joy and your freedom. That you don't, I mean, I teach this, we teach this,
Right.
it's not outside of you.
Right.
But what I found is that, when we're kids, magic is something that's just so easy for us to tap into. But
Yes.
as we become adults, then now we got to take care of business and we got to be focused. But magic, I mean, it's so connected to creativity and it's so connected to the revelation of who you are and who you come here to be. And so the 7 castles, it started downloading in a way I've never written before. I mean, descriptions of the castles, what
Wow.
was happening in the castles, what kind of things you did in I mean, it was kind of crazy, and I thought, I'm going to show this to somebody to make sure I have not gone over the deep end. So I called in 3 or 4 friends of mine from different places, and I said, read the first couple of chapters of this and
Mhm.
tell me what you think. And they were like, oh, this is great. So
Mm.
that became the gift. And I will share this one last thing. It kept giving me all these images and and I'm not a graphic artist, and
Mm.
I started looking for kingdom stuff online, and it was all these kind of Harry Potter, dragons and dungeons
Right.
and stuff.
Right.
And so I'm sitting in front of my computer and the voice says, ask AI, ask chat.
Ah.
And I went, ask it what? And so I just pulled out some of the writings and I put it in. Can I show you the cover?
Oh, yes. Hang on. Let me make sure you can share. Hold on just a second. Oh.
I can just hold it up.
Okay. Oh, okay, great.
So
Oh,
that cover.
so beautiful. Yes.
That, but that's what came through AI.
So
And all the images in the book, everything, I would put in what I wrote and then image
wait,
would
are
come
you
up.
saying AI created the cover?
Yes,
Wait, okay, hold it back up, Cynthia. Wow. That is incredible. And
isn't it?
yeah, because I feel something like I saw it on Amazon and I feel something when I saw the cover, like I could feel something. And sometimes with AI stuff, I don't feel, there's no feeling in it. That's incredible that that transmission came through you that way.
But I really think I just finished doing a summit. And Dawa Phillips said he does a whole lot of stuff in technology. He said, here's the thing about AI. He said, now he didn't use the word God. He said, but if you believe everything's connected and
Mhm.
interconnected, then AI is a part of that interconnection and you get to create relationship. So
Mm.
I think that what happened was when I took the writing and I put it in there, it came back with the frequency of what I put in there as the
Yes.
writing.
Yes, yes. I totally get that. That's so interesting you would say that because I hadn't thought about like graphic design, but when I interact with AI and as I'm preparing things, I speak highly of it, right? I interact with it in a very high consciousness way. I bless it. All those things, right? As though it was a human being I'm interacting with, and I get back stuff that feels really potent and powerful because I know there's only one mind, right? There's only one mind,
Right.
one life. So it's so funny. One of my assistants which I don't let anyone use my AI, but she wanted to use it for something, or I shared my screen and she goes, wow, you really talk to your, like she saw my prompts in there. She's like, wow, you really, you really talk to your AI. And I'm like, yeah, I put into it the same energetic vibration that I would if I were interacting with you or anyone else. So I'm glad to hear you say that.
Well, yeah, because it's, everything's energy and information. So why wouldn't it be the connection? I mean, it's cool. And I'm so glad you do that. Because when I first started, I was like, I don't think I want to tell anybody this is what I'm doing.
Too. Me too. I'm just like, it's just it's very interesting interacting with it because it does. What I notice is that if you have someone working with you who works on your material through their,
Mm,
it doesn't have the same feeling, right? It
not at
doesn't have
all.
the same vibration, so there's something there. So I feel like that's a whole other conversation. We have to have another conversation about that. I want to dive into the kingdom of magic and mystery a little bit more. And so you have these 7 symbolic castles. I would love for you just to tell us what the castles are, and then maybe walk us through 1 or 2 that you think are especially potent for women right now.
So there's the castle of magic, there's the castle of art, there's the castle of dance, there's the castle of design, there's the castle of relationships, the castle of water, and the castle of animals.
Oh,
So
and
I'm going to talk about the magic first.
okay,
Castle of
please.
the castle of magic is the activation of the energy and the frequency within us that is explore, venturous, creative, powerful. It's the part of us that when we tap into it will take us beyond our wildest imaginings.
Mm,
And so when I introduce people to the magic, it's like and there are meditations that go with every castle. So it's like walk in and activate that part of you, see what you see what you feel. And so you start going, oh, maybe that's a magical part I forgot.
uh,
Maybe it's a magical part I put down. And so the magic is always the first one where people enter. And for me, I feel like that kind of leads us right now. People are really struggling with relationships.
yes,
And so the castle of relationships is let's, first of all, what's the relationship to yourself?
right.
Who
Yeah.
are you to you, right?
Mm,
And then who are you to your family, your friends, your so it's all kinds of relationships, your love, your spouse, whatever. But it's also then how do you find your voice in that relationship in a way that's going to support you to be your authentic self and have partnership and not ever have to pull back who you are to be seen or loved.
yes. Yes. Oh my goodness, that is so powerful. This is bringing up a few things that have surfaced during the summit and during the interviews. So one is that being in relationship and losing oneself in relationship, losing oneself, abdicating one's power. And I had one of the other interviews shared that her first husband squandered her inheritance, and and she had to rebuild from that, and it was raised to not know anything about money. Her father, who was very wealthy, told her that, you don't need to know anything about money. You don't need to even get an education. All you need to do is just be pretty, get married, your husband will take care of it, right? And so that may not be happening as much today, but I do encounter so many women in my practice and my coaching who've abdicated their power in some way, either in a marriage, a relationship, at work, like letting their boss or someone at work coach them into something that is going against their best interest. So I think that's just so potent. And right now, people, we're all, a lot of people are just struggling to find their voice, to find and when I mean power, internal, authentic power in a world that wants us to feel powerless
Right.
and wants to.
Listen, we were property until the early 1900s. And the whole messaging was you take care of everybody else before you take care of yourself.
Right.
And so that's still running as an undercurrent. And then we've got, we can see stuff all over the world where women's power is being challenged or pushed down or whatever you call it. And yet one of the reasons I do the podcast is because I feel like women are emerging on the planet,
Yes.
and that tired of abdicating and giving up themselves. I mean, I've done that. I was in a job and I got an adrenal thing. And then when I had to take a sabbatical, it was like, oh, I'm doing what the women in my family did. I'm I'm taking on more and more and more and more, so you will love me. So
Uh,
you will validate me. And
yeah.
I was like, I am so over that. I mean, it's like, no, this,
Yes.
this the 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 voice is your ability to bring your passion and your light to the planet. That's
Mhm.
what it is.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. So here's what's coming up for me now, but I want to get back to another castle. But what's
Mhm.
coming up in what you just said is the pilgrimage that you do. And I
Mhm.
know you have one around Mary Magdalene,
I
right?
do.
Okay. So will you please share what you've learned in that particular pilgrimage that would be a gift to the women who are listening? What have you learned from Mary Magdalene?
Well, Mary Magdalene was an equal. She was a partner with Jesus. She was the first one that saw him resurrected. And she was the one he gave the information to that she then passed on to the other disciple. Now, they didn't love that so much because she was a woman. But, if you read her gospel, I mean, she was giving extraordinary information that we can all use today to expand. And so she, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, were examples of the divine feminine. And we've seen it in the Celtic traditions and all these other places. It's like for me, she was a way shower.
Yes.
And she was a place that showed up in Renaissance paintings. I mean, all these things where it was like, stand in your power and your love and your light and your sexuality, own it. Because by the way, Jesus was a rabbi. They were supposed to be married. Come on,
Right.
really?
Right.
Just-
Right.
I
Yeah.
just, I'm like, mm. so, so I just felt like, when you go to those sacred places, when you see the Black Madonnas, when you go to St. Balm and those places, I mean, you
Mhm.
feel the power the moment you step through the door.
Beautiful. So incredible. So share with us another castle that you think particularly women need right now that would nourish women right now.
So let me talk about the Castle of Design.
Okay.
Now, people will go, I'm not a designer, I'm not an architect, but the Castle of Design is, how do you want to design your life? How does design look for you? Is it in the work that you do? Is it in the clothes that you wear? Is it in the decorating of your home? Is it in the writing of a book? How do you want to design? I mean, design is like infinite. And so it's like for the women, it's like, what do you want to create? How do you want to design it? When you were sitting down, I know because I've done the summit. When you're looking at this summit, you were like, how do I want to design this? What kind of women do I want? What frequency do I want to deliver? That's all a design. I'm like, I want women to go in there and say, what is it about me that makes me unique and powerful? And how do I bring that into form?
Yes. Yes. Oh, this is so powerful because so frequently what I find is the things that are most unique and powerful about us, sometimes those were also things that we got put down around, right, or criticized about. Yes. And so we're actually sitting on our our most valuable assets sometimes. We're not recognizing that no, the things that make you unique are the things my dear friend William Aruda says the things that make you unique is that's what makes you valuable, right? That those are your valuable assets. And so frequently for women, imposter syndrome kicks in, all these things kick in where it's like, oh, well, I can't be too much and I can't be, too this or I can't be too that. And then we dampen all that stuff down, right? And then wonder why we're not able to design our lives, right? It puts us right in kingdom one where all these things are happening to us versus how do I get in the driver's seat? And then I'm co-creating, right? I'm designing what my life and what my body of work is going to be. So that's beautiful. That's so interesting because I thought the design castle was more about the artistry of design, but it is the artistry of designing your life, right? Being an artist is
100%.
your life. Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Oh, so beautiful. So will you share with us? You wear so many crowns, right? You're a spiritual teacher, you're an artist, you're a coach. I think you're a minister.
Mm,
Yes.
I am.
Yeah. So you're all these incredible things. And what would you say, or how would you define feminine leadership, sacred feminine leadership right now in 2025? Like, what is it all about? What do we need to be doing, and how we're showing up as leaders?
So this is what I'd say about stand in your fiercely sacred power to really find out what your passion points are, put your energy there, and and don't be afraid of losing,
Mm,
because the moment you step into that, then some predator, whatever that looks like, gets to come in and start nitpicking away you at your power, at your gifts. You know, you're on this planet for a reason, and nobody has the gifts you have that can deliver them the way you deliver them. So whatever wants to come through you, there's a delivery system, and you can trust it, and you can stand fiercely in it because you are a sacred expression of the divine, and you're unstoppable. Once
yes.
you know that, if something doesn't work, another door will open.
That is so beautiful. And it's also so comforting, right? You can't step wrong, right? You can't be wrong because you're not wrong. There's nothing wrong, right? And so frequently we start from this place of, in the big leap, he calls it fundamentally flawed, right? Like this feeling that something's wrong. And it's like, nothing is wrong, right? Nothing is wrong. Just be aligned. Oh my goodness. So as we start closing out our time together, Cynthia, is there a sacred practice or something that you do to really own and strengthen your voice that other women could partake in?
Yeah. So what I would say is learn to listen to your body
Oh,
because it is a communicator well before the mind. There's constrictions that happen when something isn't right. You feel it in some part of your body. If your throat is constricted, it's telling you that you're not using your voice. You know, begin to understand and pay attention and honor your body. It's a messenger, and it will take you to places that you wouldn't have dreamed of because you didn't know they existed. And then it will work with your mind to design and create.
mm, beautiful. So really listening to the body.
Mm,
Yes. Meditation through somatic practices, right? All of those things get you in touch, right? With self
absolutely.
and conscious. So beautiful. So, Cynthia, this is my final question I ask everyone. So, if you were to circle back now to Cindy, who was making her way through the world in the best way she knew how, what would you tell her, advise her, or share with her from your seat now?
Wow. I would say, Cindy, it's all going to be okay. There's a universe that's for you, and nothing can get in the way of who you've come here to be. You're a magical, mystical, powerful being, and angels walk with you.
Mm. You're making me cry. That is so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we just love Cindy. We just love
We do love
we
her.
love Cindy. Oh my goodness. So beautiful. Cynthia, I know that the audience wants to connect with you. And so I can you tell them first how they can find you, your website, where can they find you?
CynthiaJames.net, and everything's there. And
Beautiful. And you have some gifts for the audience as well. So I'll let you
uh,
tell them about that.
yeah, so there's an ebook, and it's called Five Barriers to Finding Your Voice. And I wrote it primarily for women because so many of my clients were struggling with that. So it's free, and there are things there are gifts in the kingdom of magic and mystery you can just download to support you in finding out where does your magic live within you.
Oh, that is so wonderful. So that's the Kingdom of Magic and Mystery Book Club, right? Okay.
Yes, and you can start the book club. There's a whole thing on how you do the book club, how you meet, how you go through the councils.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I love that. So all of the links for all of that information and for Cynthia's website are right below this video. So you can reach out and be a part of this magical, mystical, beautiful world that Cynthia has created. I am so touched by you and by our time that we have spent together. And just thank you so much for bringing all of your gorgeous power to this conversation. You have blessed a Woman's Voice Online Summit, and I'm just grateful for you and grateful you've been here. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you, Rochelle. You're doing great work.
Thank you. And so, my beloveds, this was an amazing and rich conversation, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Blessings.